Welcome to The Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hey everyone, welcome to Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today's episode is with Dr. Lucille Maddalena, author of her debut book, Moving On By Harnessing the Instincts of My Sled Dog Team. I love the name of your book. Welcome, Dr. Lucille.
Well, thank you for having me on today.
Oh, my pleasure. Lucille, thank you so much for joining the podcast. And please, can you share with our listeners just a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become an author?
Uh, well, actually, this is my third book. The other two were written early in my career, and then I took a hiatus from publishing just for life. But this one, I had to do this. I just had to get this on paper. Uh, I have a doctorate in labor education and human communications, interdisciplinary. Got there in sort of a weird way because my mother wanted me to be a teacher way back when. So I went through college and I paid my own way through college. And when I got to college, I started taking economics classes and I really liked figuring out why people work. And this has sort of been a little theme in the back of my mind. And I bring it up. I coach a lot of very successful people, CEOs, VPs. I'm blessed to have wonderful, wonderful clients. And even them, there's a point in their career where they pause and say, "What am I doing? Is this the job I want? Is this the life I want?" So that question of why do people work that started way back then keeps growing. And I wanted to address it and bring it up and make people think about it, look at it and address it for yourself. Find out if what you're doing is what you want to be doing. And if it isn't, make a change. On by is a sled dog command for get off the trail, get into that deep snow, pass that team in front of you and win, get where you want to go. So
Yes.
that's what this is all about.
Beautiful. I love it. And I love that you went on your own path despite or with the encouragement of your mother, because all she wanted was for you to become the best version of yourself, right?
That's what all mothers want, you're right.
Yes. And I love teachers. So your new book, Moving On By Harnessing the Instincts of My Sled Dog Team. This book has received high praises from Chip Bell. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind this book, and what readers can expect to gain from it?
Oh, Chip Bell is one of my favorite authors, and his work mentoring is incorporated in the book because we all as leaders, we're mentors, we're role models. So I do reference him, and I reference quite a few other really good speakers and thinkers today because moving on by requires that you take a good look at what your career is and what you want to do. So in the book, I open with sled dog stories because they're fun and they get us out in the wild and they get you thinking because you run into exactly the same things. There's something called gut thinking. Have you read about that recently? They're talking about how the brain and gut actually work in unison in some cases to make decisions, especially under pressure. So that's why I thought about bringing in the instincts of the sled dog and using my examples from being on a sled dog team. I raced for 6 years,
Hmm.
and then I went into the office after my morning on the trails. And there's a strong analogy between those two things because you need to take the break. You need to think sometimes and separate yourself from your work. And then when you get into work, you can give yourself wholeheartedly to that task. So yes, I do use Chip's material. I use many other experts because the book opens with the sled dog tales, goes
Hmm.
into an actual case study. I've got 8 case studies in there. Then I
Yes.
call on these experts like Chip to talk about what's happening, what's really there, and then I give some tasks to the reader that are kind of fun.
Yes. I've been learning more about tapping into my instincts because I remember when I thought my instincts were not that important.
Mm. We
And
all were
now,
taught that.
yeah, now I'm realizing that it's everything. It's very important because
Right.
it's like a warning sign.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a gut
Yeah.
instinct, and that's why I'm so
Yeah.
thrilled that they're finally doing research on the gut and the brain relationship.
Yes. Yes.
When I take a team out on a run, I watch the team's every dog's ears, back
Mm,
fur, and tails because they give me signals as to what's out there. We
okay.
we block our own instincts. We don't pick up on those things. We may hear it, but we don't react like they do. And you need to bring them to the surface. I think they also help in our everyday life.
Hmm. So I think it's really important also to work alongside animals and to, or have animals in your environment because they are so keen with their assessments,
Isn't
especially, yeah, they're so keen with
it
theirs.
amazing?
Mm-hmm. So I guess that's how you came up with this idea of using the metaphor of the sled dogs as a team, in your book. So I also see how getting out early before work can become inspiring. What times were you getting up?
Well, I think runners do that too.
Yeah.
We're not alone, but I would get up at 5 in the morning, 3 days
Okay.
a week, because it took time to get the dogs and all the gear to the truck, and then I'd have to drive to the training area, which is an abandoned railroad bed or some farmer's field, and get the dogs out of the truck. They were so excited, get them all hooked up and take off. And it is so beautiful in the morning because they love sunrise, and you can see the snow sparkle, and it's so
Hmm.
quiet, and it's so nourishing, and you pull yourself together, and no matter what your day is going to be like, you're ready for it.
Yeah, it's like meditating.
Oh, it is. It's very transcendental, because you're quiet. It's just you and the animals, and you see their feelings and their enthusiasm for life, their energy
Yes.
level, and that renews our energy level. We need that. We work hard. Why do
Yeah.
people work? We work for living. We know that. We want to earn money. We also want
Hmm.
to enjoy our lives. We want to live
Yes.
fullest and healthiest. So we've got to
Yes.
get out there and exercise, and doing it with animals is aspiring.
Beautiful. Now, in moving on by, you explore the theme of successful influencing. Can you share a little bit more on how leaders, mentors, and parents can help, apply the insights from your book in their own lives?
And there I think that's an interesting question. Thank you for asking that because you're talking about how they apply it in their own lives. At the
Yeah.
same time, you're talking about them being role models. So we're taking two dimensions of ourselves, aren't we not?
Oh,
We're
yes.
evalu- we're evaluating ourselves, we're performing our lives and living our relationships. And at the same time, people are watching us. These little people are watching us and they're observing and they're mimicking us because we are role models. We are mentors, whether you're an assigned leader in a corporation or your mom or dad, you're a role model, you're a mentor. So that makes us self aware, doesn't it? Sometimes when you hear one of your children say something that you said and you're aghast because it's something you wish you had never said, you're taken aback. And it gives you a chance to rethink and realize the impact we have on our children, on our
Hmm.
on people we work with, on our friends, going to the supermarket, on the people that are helping us put out the vegetables. We do
Yes.
influence others, and the way they react to us tells us a lot about who we are and what we
Yes.
want out of life.
That is so true. I didn't realize how much impact I had on my siblings, on especially one of my sisters. One day she told me a story about how I helped her get to a school trip when she was very young and
Oh,
we were very young. And just to listen to her story and to hear how I didn't even remember what she was talking about, but it's impacted her so much that she said that this is one of the most impactful thing that has happened to her. And I think about that now. I reflect on that here, and how impactful we are to the people around us just by going to the supermarket and choosing the right food or healthy foods.
Exactly, sure.
You
And what a
know.
gift she gave you. Isn't that nice that she took the time to tell you that story? Bless her.
Yeah,
That's really fine. That we need to do
bless
that with
her.
each other. We have to thank that feedback is a gift. We know that.
Mhm,
We have to
mhm.
take the time to thank people for their feedback because it reminds us
Yeah.
who we are and how they see us. And we are how we think other people see us. So we need that information.
Yes, yes.
Those connections are so important.
Absolutely. Now, Chip mentioned that he found himself reading every word of your book with joy. What do you hope readers take from your
Oh, I hope they find joy too. Let me be really honest with you. I wrote this book for the people I coach, and they're leaders, they're VPs, they're very successful, and they are coaching people under them, high performers, to move up. So I was going to give them a little book with case studies that they can use to help those people that they want to move up quickly.
Yes.
Well, concurrently, my grandson was diagnosed with I want to say it properly, osteogenesis imperfecta type 1, which is
Mm,
brittle bones. And at age 2, he broke five five bones during that one
mm,
year. One was the femur, which put him in a body cast. So you
mm,
can imagine a 2-year-old in a body cast, unable to move.
mhm.
So as I was caring for him, and watched him go through this horrendous pain and at the same time smile and look for love and look for joy and find it in the family. And even when he goes to the doctor, before he leaves the doctor's office, he would turn his head and say thank you to the doctor. Of course, we're all in tears
Mhm.
when he did that. Um, but that joy, in spite of all he was going through, was infectious and it seeped into the book. And I added sections on mindfulness, I added sections on health. I really stressed those things because you can't just work. And it's not why we work, it's how we work and how we live. And he brought that back to the surface for me. So the book's a little longer than I had wanted it to be. But I think it's important that we see that full life, that we have work life harmony, not balance.
Mhm.
Balance
Not
doesn't work.
nouns. Yes.
About harmony,
Yeah.
bring it together, and respect yourself, and trust yourself to make the right choices.
I think that is a beautiful soul. He is a beautiful soul. And I'm thinking about work life balance versus work life harmony.
Isn't that nice?
And it just sounds more beautiful and something to aspire to.
Oh, yes. Well, also go back to the word balance. Balance is a
Mhm.
scale, and you put items here
Mhm.
and items there. Well, we can't do that in real life. There is nothing objective enough and strong enough to really weigh. And attempting to weigh is artificial. But when you
Mhm.
talk about harmony, you think about how can my day work together? My boss will allow me to work from home, which is great. If I take off from 4 to 5 today to see my son's soccer game and put in that extra hour at night, I can achieve my goals just by rearranging my day. That's harmonizing my day. How much more
Yes.
beneficial is that to everybody? You do a better job when you want to work and you get to see your child and your child gets to see you. Oh, my goodness. Much more.
Yes. It fosters a healthy life and a harmonious life. And it also is it's like teamwork in a sense.
It is teamwork.
Yeah. And your book emphasizes the importance of teamwork and collaboration. How does that, or how do you believe these principles apply to not only sled dog teams, but also the
All of us.
family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just wrote the government, our Surgeon General has issued a statement that he's working on focusing on the fact that there are too many lonely people. Loneliness is a problem
Mm,
in our society right now. So I just did a little article on that and I posted it, and the responses I received were heartbreaking. People feel separated, they feel lonely, they don't
mm,
engage. And I think the best way to live is by engaging with others, by connecting with others, by feeling you're part of a group. We need to be part of a team. the best decisions are made by 3 people, not 1 or 10 people. When it gets too big, it gets complicated, but more ideas make better decisions.
Yes.
And making those connections supports us. And we grow and we thrive on those decisions. We thrive on each other's relationships and support. We need to be trusted. We need to be respected. And that can't happen in a void. We
We
lose in a void.
definitely, yeah, we definitely thrive in when we have good positive relationships. And I realize that because I've worked in the mental health arena, uh, and I realized that the people who had the mental health issues, they had struggles with building or connecting or with relationships. And the people that I find that were doing better started to create healthy relationships and work on those relationships. And so it makes sense that you're saying, relationships are important to our mental health or to our health.
They are.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Absolutely. And it's difficult to tell somebody that you can't tell anybody anything. They have to discover it for themselves. So
Hmm.
how do you inspire them? And my motto is to be inspired and to be inspiring,
Hmm.
because it has to come from your heart. It has to come, it
Yes.
has to be your decision. You have to see the value in taking that chance and reaching out to somebody you don't know to form a
Yeah.
relationship. It's hard, especially if you're shy, if you're an introvert. Um, it's important. It's important to connect. It's important to build your team around you. We need
And,
support,
and you have to fill yourself up with what you want to give back or share.
right?
So yeah, you're so right.
That's why that's why I went sled dog racing or running or swimming or anything that's physically exhausting for me helps me gives me time to think. You know,
Mm.
um, I used the word harnessing in the book. Uh, we put harnesses on the dogs, obviously, but harnessing our drive takes the power. We have to commit ourselves. We have to. There's a passion that we have to invest, and then we have to receive pride in our achievement. So without passion, pride, and performance, we're not going to understand why we're investing their time. We're not going to get value from our time, and our values are who we are. We have to respect our own values. You have to put them out there and share them, and understand that they will change and track it. And
Yes.
that's being respectful to yourself,
So
honest with
track,
yourself.
are you track your values?
Right. Yeah. In the book, I talk about trail markers.
Hmm.
As we're on our trail, a trail marker I call when you find that place in your trail that you get excited, that you know you want to go. It aligns with your values. It makes you feel makes you feel inspired. It makes you feel like you want to keep going, and you drive harder because you've got someplace to go. So you look for your trail markers, and you and keep reaching, because we don't want to be stagnant. We want to keep growing. And as we grow, as we develop, as we move along our own trails, we'll find those trail markers.
How did you get into sled dog? Or what is the sport?
Dog racing,
Dog racing. How did you go
dog
get into
sledding,
sled dog racing?
dog
Sled dog
sledding,
racing.
dog
Dog
sledding,
sledding.
dog
Dog
sledding.
sledding.
That's the term. Yeah. Well, my husband is from the city, and I grew up on my grandparents' farm. So when we got married, moved to a very cold part of the state up north, and we had to do with things that deal with snow. So we got one dog, and it was an Alaskan Malamute. Loves the snow. And we found we couldn't go hiking with just one dog because each of us wanted one dog. So we went out for a second dog, and we found two, a brother and sister, and we couldn't separate them. So we came home. Now we have three dogs. And northern breeds are trained to run, they run away from you. Well, we couldn't run fast enough. Fortunately, because we're in a snowy community, there were other people in the area who also liked outdoor activities, and they taught us how to get involved in dog sledding. There are a lot of groups. You need a lot of training, you need a lot of equipment. So we put the sled behind the dogs and let them run. And the joy, oh, excitement. You're in nature. I did this for 6 years. While working, when children came, the dogs became more important because they were the pets. They were the defenders of my children. They were our house guests. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the dogs have always been very important in our lives. All my children now are raised and grown and have their own families. We all have dogs. Nobody
Oh,
races anymore because it is a lot of work. Uh,
yes.
but it was a great experience. I can tell you about a little race, how I learned something from a sled dog, if you'd like a little story.
Please. I was just going to ask you to share a memberable moment. So there you are.
Ah, look
Please
at that.
share.
Yeah, you brought it up to me, beautifully. This is the very first race I went on, and
Mhm.
and races. I use the word race. We're racing against our friends. This is timed events. You're out you take off from the chute every 3 minutes, and it's not really heavy competition. We just want to see how we're doing. So I took off on my very first race. My dogs were all ready and excited, and we had been training, and it was a really bright day, and I didn't wear goggles because this is my first race. I did all sorts of dumb things, and as we moved along, I was coming out from under a grove of trees where it was really dark. And when you come from something dark to a bright, sparkly day with the sun on the snow, you can't see a thing. So I couldn't see anything, but those dogs' tails went straight up. And the ears were straight up, so I knew something was happening. And as we progressed, I began to see the first hill, and I had caught up to the driver in front of me. We had made up time, and I was approaching that driver and that team. And my dogs were really excited. Now, my job is to keep the sled going. You're standing on one runner, you're working the whole time. It is not a sport that you don't exercise. You're constantly pumping with one foot and keeping the sled
Full
going.
body workout.
Full body workout. I want to keep the weight of the sled off the dogs, especially uphill. So I'm pushing. So we're getting close to the other team, and my job at this point is to shout on by, which means get off this nice packed trail, go around that team, and get back in front of them. It also informs the other driver that we're coming. Well, we're getting close. I call out, "May I pass you?" I ask that other driver for permission to beat him. I asked for permission rather than tell my dogs what to do. At that second, my little lead dog, who's a darling dog, she actually turned her head mid-stride. We had eye contact like part of a second, really quick, which reminded me, oh yeah, I'm part of this team, and my job here is to call on by. As soon as she did that, she dropped her haunches, stretched her legs, took the team around beautifully. I called on by. We did it. We did it well, and we achieved our goal. But that was a big learning moment for me because I was still working in those corporate corridors. I was being polite. I was asking for
Mhm.
permission. And this was an event where I was part of my team. I should have been connected with them and I should have been driving them on and giving them the encouragement they needed. So I
Yes.
was not where I should be. And I think that happens to other people too when you're with teams and you revert back to another environment or another situation and you sort of lose the momentum of the team and you have to redevelop yourself or reestablish yourself. Um, that dog taught me more than I learned in several classes, I'm sure,
And
that moment.
I'm listening to the story and I'm thinking about how in as a leader we make the same mistakes. We see that there is a necessary step for our clients to take, and we're asking, may I? When
Right.
this is the time to be a leader and to full force move forward.
You
Wow.
exactly. That's exactly the point. It's we learn so much from animals, don't we? Just
Yeah.
watching their natural reactions to things and their enthusiasm, their joy in life. All we need to do is keep them healthy, and they give back so much.
Talking about that, it had to be a big part of your life to keep them healthy
Oh
also,
my
right?
lord, it certainly was. Yes, yeah, because we have to maintain them. Handle the vet bills, make sure everybody was groomed, make sure they get the right food. And when you go for a 3-day race, all the dog drivers stay in some kind of lodge together. In the
Mhm.
evening after dinner, we all get together to talk. You know what we talk about? the food, the diets the dogs are getting. How do we maintain it? There's no other conversation but the maintenance of those great creatures because they're athletes. They are truly
Yes.
athletes. So
Yeah.
we are serving them, and we uh, invest a lot of time in them. It's not an easy thing to do. It's rewarding because we appreciate the animals and what they
Yes.
give us and the enthusiasm they bring back to our lives.
And when animals are a part of your life, you have a responsibility to take full care of them because they can't say what they need all the time. So you have to instinctively know and, take care of them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why they make. I use uh, and the analogies of sled dogs to get people interested on the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Get them starting to think in a natural way about how they work as a team and what it really means to be a leader. You can't be a leader without followers, right? So how do you get
Mm-mm.
those followers? What do you do? Um, and that's why I go into the case stories. And the case stories are all real. Some are a little sad, but they, in the end, we got them where they had to go. Some are just life. Individuals who want to do the best for their families and are in a tough situation because maybe they're too quiet and they need to be heard. They need to get a seat at the table. So they,
Mm-hmm.
as a coach, my job is to remind them who they are and give them the
Yes.
power back and let them know how to use their own power to achieve their goals.
What was it like writing this book? The research.
Oh, the research was a joy because I, I so respect the people I'm quoting in the book.
Mm-hmm.
The book actually, as I was referring to my grandson, was a reprieve for me because there was so much worry over what he was going through that
Mm-hmm.
I would be up nights, and this gave me something to do at the night and distract me from the worry.
Yes.
So it gave me an opportunity to sort of organize my passion, my knowledge, and capture it and put it on paper and not and be distracted for what I was worrying about with his
Mm-hmm.
health. So it was a perfect time for me.
Mm-hmm. How's your grandson now?
This he has not had a break this year so far. He's going to
Yay!
be yes, I'm so excited. It's
Good.
February, 2 months, and he's doing really well. He's
Yes.
rebuilding his muscles after being in that horrible condition for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And his birthday is Saturday, so
How
it's
old
all
will
good.
he be?
He'll be 3. He'll be 3,
Oh.
yeah. And he has a little brother that he loves and takes care of,
Uh-huh.
and he's a happy boy. You
Yes.
know what
Well,
children are like, boys, girls at that age, they're so full of energy.
mhm.
So it's just a joy.
Beautiful. I'm imagining you um looking through pictures when you were out there, in the snow and thinking about ways to bring all of these stories that you've learned from the animals, from being out, from learning and meeting up with others. And as an author and a speaker and a leader and a coach, what advice do you have for aspiring authors?
To be true,
Hmm.
to really understand what it is you want to talk about that you've experienced. The the writers that work on theory are terrific in that sense. But I wanted to hear it how it applied. I wanted to hear what you went through to do it. I want to hear what you learned uh, at the tough times.
Yeah.
I want to hear the pain as well as the growth because there is no growth. Childbirth is painful. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Look what it produces. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
um, and if you don't experience that pain, if you don't understand how hard it is to get through it, like the issue with loneliness, how you can relate to the people who are feeling lonely right now and understand where they're coming from to be able to provide guidance for them and motivate them and give them other options to think about what they can do in their lives or one of the case studies was an organization itself that had some issues with union and various things that occurred. So here was a small little company of steel workers. They melted steel. These are hardcore guys. And the company was falling apart. They weren't producing. they were enthusiastic, but there were so many problems. And they worked 3 shifts around the clock, really good people. So they asked me to come in because the general manager wasn't available. So I for 3 years, actually 2 years, I worked with them. And to see their enthusiasm when I was able to give them back the power to make decisions, to define the supply chain, to reorganize how manufacturing is done, to establish the schedules, gave them the power to run their own company.
Yes.
And we did that for 2 years. It was so exciting working with these hardworking guys. And at the end of the 2 years, um, they had achieved more success financially and number of manufacturers than in the entire history of that firm. Now that company was owned by a major firm, and the owners of the main firm came out to that little site, to this little steelworkers um, facility, and just gave them accolades upon accolades because they recognized they put their values, they put their heart into that company,
Yes.
and they were rewarded for it, and it was so much excitement and pleasure to go to work because you were learning and you're thinking about what can I do to make my life better, to make my associations and my colleagues efficient, and so we get the job done and we get it done together and we get it done well. So we're proud. We need to be proud of ourselves. We need to give
Yes.
ourselves the credit and glow a little bit and recognize that we're good.
How does it feel to come home after 2 years knowing that you've impacted so many people in reaching some part of them that they didn't even know was there?
Oh, how gratifying is that?
Mm.
I love my work. I've helped I've worked with many clients. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yes.
I've helped people move and be heard, reach their goals, get out of ridiculous situations. I had one group of women who just simply were never trained. They were in a job in factory, and they couldn't grow. They were stuck in that factory because they had no other way or place to work. So I
Hmm.
helped the managers redesign it completely. I helped those women take training programs. The first time I offered a training program, and I think there were like 26 people. The first time I offered a session for them, only 4 women came, and they sat in the back of the room with their back to me. And the managers were there, and I was training the managers how to train these women to enjoy their work, to really find value, to do something with their time on the job, perform the tasks, and find ways to grow and achieve and be part of the company. Take
Hmm.
control here. Be a manager. Be a leader. Um, so they didn't. They During the session, the 4 of them sat in the back with their backs to me until I started talking, and I got the managers talking to them. Then they started smiling, and they started turning their chairs around, and they started talking. They're brilliant. All right, they didn't have management terms because they hadn't been through management school, but they knew the concepts. So
Yes.
the next Saturday, I ran it again because I had to come on a Saturday morning, and 6 people came this time. 6 women came, and they sat in the front row, all touching each other, looking only at me. Okay, and
Hmm.
their new managers came in too, and we ran the program. During that program, they actually turned their heads and talked to the managers, which they hadn't done before. They participated. They
Hmm.
started taking the information, saying, "Yes, I could do this. I could
Hmm.
do this on the job. Enjoy the job more. I'll be able to work with more people on the job. I'll benefit from it." Um, by the time that program was over, almost all of the women who went through it, well, all the women who went through it were in a management position
Oh, wow.
for the first time in their lives. And they were running the company. The management team that had been sent down there wanted them to do it. It was their firm. It was their environment. They knew
Yeah.
what to do, and it was just so wonderful to see them take control. And when they found out that they were taking positions, one woman who had always been sort of the smiling person, the person who broke the ice, called me and thanked me, and I broke down in tears
Mm.
because so many people were able to find their strength, find their power, find their passion, move ahead in their careers. And it worked for everyone. It was beneficial to the firm that bought them, managers who were visiting with them, and for them at their own organization. They have a career now.
Yes.
They have skills and they work with each other more effectively. And the more
Yes.
money the firm makes, better salaries they have. It
You
worked
know,
out for everyone.
And also, it looked like you've changed these women's lives. Um, on the surface, it looks like this is it. You've changed their lives. But can you imagine the impact those women had in their families, in their communities,
You
in the
know it.
people that are within their sphere?
Oh, they're role models now, aren't they? They're
Mm,
going to light that fire. They're going to put that passion out there. That's why I use the word passion a lot.
yes,
It's excitement. It's ignites someone's creativity, and it makes them want to achieve more because you get more out of it. The more you put in,
yeah,
the more you get back. And
yes,
yes, that was found. That was very satisfying, and I was so proud of them all that they took the risk. It's all about risk. Change is about
yes,
risk. Being willing to
yes,
take that risk, do something you've never done before. It could be scary. I can
yes,
totally understand that. And but they were there. They sat in that classroom. They listened, and they one at a time turned their chairs to listen directly and have eye contact and speak up and stand up proud to the men who and women that were down there in the management team actually design helping them move along so that I could back out. I turned the training program over to them. They ran it and they continued doing it. Um, and the firm's very successful.
I love that story. Now, what's the most important message that you want people to take from moving on by?
Pride, take
Mm,
the risk, accept the challenge, and do it. Do what you need to do. You don't know where you're going to go. I had no idea I was ever going to get a doctorate and be in this field. I just kept going because somehow there was something I had to do. And we have to have that faith in ourselves, don't we? To know where we want to be. Maybe we
yes,
can't define it, but we know it's not here. There's something else I want to add to get somewhere else. And then when I get someone else, I can bring others with me. Look at what
yes.
you do. Look at what you do. You do the exact same thing, right? You must inspire so many people with these shows.
Oh my goodness. And my story is incredible because I was not used to taking risk. I was afraid. And you grow up in an environment where you have to be cautious, or you're told to be cautious. And then to take risk, like you said, and just move from being afraid into aspiring for big things and dreams that you never even thought was good enough for you. So thank you for letting me reflect on my story.
Well, we all have a story, and isn't it fascinating to be able to share those stories? Because we all learn from each other. Or if even if it's not something new, it sort of
Hmm.
reinforces us and reminds us, yeah, this is the way to be. It does
Yes.
make a difference.
Yes. Work on yourself and you'll inspire people around you. But more importantly, you will realize that you have greatness inside of you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
We all have that power and that passion. It's
Yes.
there. How wonderful when it gets exposed, when we can achieve
Thank you
something.
so much for coming and sharing
Well, I hope
your
people buy my book.
passion.
You know, if
Yes.
you
Where
let
can we
me
find it?
Yes, well, it's gonna be at Amazon, but if you need to
Uh-huh.
get it quicker or just more information on it, oh, visit my website anyway, just because there's good stuff on there. It's
Yes.
MTM Coach, Maddalena, Transitions Management, mtmcoach.com. And let me know. There's some freebies, some the booklets I have on there that you can download, and there's a couple of sled dogs experiences on there too. I've got some videos of sled dog teams too.
We're going to put the link in here somehow so that people could go to your website and support you and get that book, because I can hear the passion that you have. And for some reason I have a great visual, like a movie. And the pictures you sent me, oh my goodness, I absolutely love them because I they were moving.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Dogs
love
don't stay still.
that.
Neither do 2-year-olds. Oh, and
Yeah.
make sure if you can, make a
Uh-huh.
donation to the OIF Foundation, oif.org. That's for the osteogenesis imperfecta type 1 brittle bone,
Oh,
oif.org.
I will go ahead right
A
away. And
percent
guys,
a
please,
percentage of my book is going to them.
that's beautiful. Please go out and support Dr. Lucille Maddalena, and
Thanks.
please support the OIF Foundation. It means a lot to her. But before you go, there are 3 questions that I love to
Okay.
ask my guests. So I'm going to ask you. The first question is, what's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
I promise you that you have the power, the passion, and the drive to succeed. Use it, respect your values, represent yourself well, be proud, be inspired and inspiring. That's all.
The power is within you. Yes, yes, yes. Strong, powerful. Love it. What's a bold statement you can share with the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
Take the risk, jump, do something different, get out of your head, get out of your environment. Don't let yourself be lonely. Don't let yourself be stranded. Connect with someone, build the rapport, share who you are. You're magnificent. Share that inner glow.
You are magnificent. Yes. Love it. What's a bold move you'd like to make in the future? You're doing so well and just looking ahead, different projects or endeavors that you're working on. What would you like to do? What's a bold move you'd like to make in the future?
I'm so pleased with the access I have to some exciting people. I think I'd like to do a little bit more speaking. Right now, I do a lot more coaching. I love coaching. I love working one on one. But I was thinking maybe I should do a little bit more speaking. Maybe run some workshops online. I've been asked to do that, and maybe I should. Maybe should be. See, there's me holding myself back because I have to prepare, and I have to take a risk. I have to invest that time. We all do this, so that's what I'm thinking about.
Go for it. Go for it. You have so much to share, so many lessons that you've learned in the open, working with others, being a leader, and working with animals. So I think that you go out there and share it with the world. There's a ripple effect just by people connecting with you. I feel it. And
Ah,
thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story and to share your book. Please, guys, go out there and get this book, Moving On By, Harnessing the Instincts of My Sled Dog Team. Oh
ah.
my goodness.
You're
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much. I really enjoy this. Enjoyed meeting you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Please come back again. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, so guys, say it one more time. Where can the audience pick up your book?
The website is MTM, Maddalena Transitions Management, MTMcoach.com. One word, MTMcoach.com. And don't forget the OIF organization.
Yes. Thank you. If you would like to write your book, but you don't know where to start, check out my website, boldpublishings.com, and schedule an appointment with me. I'll help you get your book idea out of your head and onto paper so that you can become the published author that you've been dreaming of and go out there and make a difference in
Mm.
someone's life. So you can give hope and inspiration to someone. So thank you for listening. And thank you, Dr. Lucille, for coming
been, a,
today.
been a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.